Hello everyone, we are back with the Cleveland Way Day 2. I am of course your wonderful host and unfortunate hiker of hills, Rob, and today we are just leaving the delightful little village of Usmotherley to tackle arguably the hardest part of this walk. Yes, today we're heading that way over the Cleveland Hills, which are a series of mighty climbs, one after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other. I think overall we've got 5 pretty steep climbs today, none of which I am prepared for mentally. But I'm excited because I absolutely adore this section. It's tough, but my God is it rewarding. And while we're not heading exactly there today, you can just about see way off in the distance Roseberry Topping, which is en route basically, but yeah, we're not heading exactly there today. We're going to aim for a little village called Kildale, which is approximately 20 miles over many a big hill and many a vast expanse of moor. So without further ado, let's get going. You can get a bit of an idea of what it is we're dealing with today. That's hill number 1 over there. Number 1 of 5. And if memory serves, that's the one that nearly destroyed me the first time I did the Cleveland Way. And as you can tell, the weather's not the best. I have double checked and we're not supposed to get rain here. So I am hoping that I'm right because I don't really want to get soaked. Can't do naught about it now, can I? I'm here. We'll just have to see. It is a relief to be out today. I have, in the last week, succumbed to what's really got to be the plague. Having a child is basically just opening yourself up to myriad illnesses, isn't it? But with the added complication of diabetes, which gives your immune system a hell of a kicking, I've been so unwell. I had this whole week booked off and I was going to come and do loads of the Cleveland Way all in one go over a couple of days. We got one day to do so, and it is overcast and windy, but we're out and that's what's important. We're out looking over all of this. I'll keep that in mind. This bug has left me weak and it has left me full of phlegm, so if some of these hills take me a bit longer, you'll have to forgive me. I will at least make an effort not to just spend the whole time whinging. Poppy's part of the support crew today because if I'm feeling unwell, then I need my morale booster to help me get up some of these hills. She'll be joining me for little bits of the journey today. Once upon a time she would have done the whole thing with me, but she's getting on, bless her, so it's just nice to have her here witnessing some of it. We're doing the first big descent of the day because if you're going to tackle these unreasonably tall hills, you're going to be damn sure you're starting from as close to sea level as possible. These are a bit of a knee knackerer, these ones. I imagine my legs are going to be shaking like jelly by the end of today. Now, when I've done this route before, you follow this quaint little track through this woods, and then it says, oh, just Just pop down that field, would you there, pal? Mind the cows. And the cows loved to gather around the exit, meaning that to get past them, you basically have to clamber over a fence and wade down a river. I'm hoping that we do not have to do that again today, because when I did this last time, I was very near the end of my route and I waddled off down into the nearby village of Swainby with wet feet and nary a care in the world. Today, I've got a hell of a lot longer to walk, so I'd rather like there not to be cows there. This is maybe like the third or fourth time that I've walked this route, and the first time I did it, well, the first two times actually ended in a degree of disaster, let's say. The first time I walked with Poppy, it was a day when there'd been snow up on the moors, so that was really nice. The second time, which was when I was actually doing the Cleveland Way, I walked all of this way and got to the campsite on the other side of this hill. But what I didn't think is that I had one of them water pouch things that you can drink out of, and I'd cleaned it out with like soap. And as I was walking, I went, that tastes remarkably of soap. So I thought, oh, I won't drink that. So I walked like 20 something miles without any water, got to the Lordstone's Cafe campsite, tried to eat something. I was camping there, and I had this little bivvy, which is basically, it's just like a canvas coffin. And I climbed into that feeling horrendous and had the worst night's sleep ever. But I'm not doing that today, and we're in the field and there are cows. So yay, but they are all lying down over there, so that's not too bad. There are people walking up the hill, so I'm going to shut up now. The cow crisis has been averted. There were some div kids, let's call them, some like teenagers doing the hike, who decided to go and try and get a selfie with one of them. So if they all get mauled, that's on them, but leaves me free to walk. and with that, we are basically at the lowest point, height-wise, not morale-wise, for the day. Yeah, I imagine morale will dip later. Wasn't too bad actually, that climb. We do still have quite a way to go up to get to the top of the first hill, but it's more of a gradual ascent now, not the calf melter that hill was. And then that'll be the first of 5 hills done. These hills have a lot of meaning. In the last video I was saying about the whole autism diagnosis. I remember coming up here and just, there's something about wide open spaces that kind of really diminish the severity of a problem. Because when you kind of locked in an issue, it feels like all you can think of. And then you come somewhere like this with 360 degrees of space that just could not give a toss about your problems, to make you go, alright, it's maybe not as big as I was thinking it was. And that happened to me when I was up here. At the time, I wasn't working, I was in between jobs, I was trying to change careers, I was uncertain about my own identity, and I came up here feeling stressed and kind of not really looking for answers, but not really knowing what to think. and it just kind of all put it in perspective a little bit. And being up here, I encountered another man who was walking, and he said that he was in between jobs and he was coming and doing this to help clear his head. And it just made me think, you know, like, so many people are struggling, and all of our struggles feel so enormous to us that sometimes you just need to come and be reminded that you are a tiny blip in existence for you to go, all right, yeah, fair enough. Maybe that doesn't need to be the big issue that I'm getting stuck in my head with. And that helped. The views also helped, you know, they cheered me up. But that's not the only reason why these hills have such massive significance to me. The other reason is my brother-in-law, Dean. I try not to mention too much about like family and stuff like that on these, because, you know, it's walking and seeing nice places, but I feel like I can't come here and I can't talk about the stuff I've been talking about on this journey and not mention him, because it's such a big part of mine and my family's life. Dean was an absolutely phenomenal person. He could walk into any room, just transform the energy and just make it fun and chaotic and utterly memorable. He had some of the funniest tales to tell. I remember one time I was visiting my parents-in-law's house, and it was all nice and quiet, and then Dean showed up, and within seconds he was there doing that thing where you put a hand on the table and do like a knife in between the fingers, and his dog was running around tearing at his jeans, and he was doing magic tricks, impressions, and everyone was just laughing, and we came away from it like, oh wow, that was totally unexpected. And it was just that was just his magic. It was unlike anyone else I've ever met. But Dean was an alcoholic, and that side of him was always there, and sadly a couple of years ago he passed away, and that was always there. That was always a possibility. There were a couple of times over the years where we thought it might happen, and then it did, and it felt like, how could this have happened? This is like someone saying, oh, the sun, that's just, it's no more, it's not there anymore. And you'd just be like, what? No, that's not how it goes. And it was unbearably painful to lose him. In a way, unlike anyone else that I've lost, it felt unfair, but also like an inevitability, and in ways a kindness, because he struggled. And in the grand scheme of things, I didn't know him that long, but you know, like his siblings and his parents and his kids and other family and other friends who'd known him for so much longer, we all just had to deal with this vacuum. Such a tough thing to get through for everyone, that I don't think anyone who knew him has quite recovered from. I don't think any of us will, because, you know, sometimes when you meet someone like that, you just don't. you just don't recover from it. And I miss him, and his family miss him, and it's bloody difficult to comprehend. But when he was younger, Dean would come up here and he'd spend time up in these hills, and when I found that out, and after his funeral, me and my wife, we came up here and sort of searched for a perfect spot to scatter his ashes, which we eventually did with his two kids and their partners. It wasn't this hill, it was the next one over that we will get to, and that was just a hell of a story, which we'll get to in a little bit, because I need I need a moment now. There we go, hill 1 done. So now we're going down there, up there, along to the top, down, up, down, up, down, up. I was being brayed by the wind. You'll have to excuse the lack of drone footage today. The wind is braying me. Right, let's get down from this one. Pop's joining us on hill number 2, aren't you, darling? Yeah. Hill number 2 with Pop. Yeah. Good girl. Good view there. So I've taken a mild detour just away from the path because the seat that I was just at is quite a tourist hotspot, guys. So there was a lot of people congregating up there, so I thought What I'll do is I'll hike up here to this here old pile of stones, and we'd have a little chinwag. Because I was going to tell you about when we scattered Dean's ashes. So we climbed up that hill to the seat, and we did it there. We'd had a nice day, everyone just spending time together as a family, and it was really lovely. And then the time came and we said, right, as a family we'll come up and scatter the ashes. Some people weren't able to come up because it's a bit of a climb and it's not the easiest place in the world, but when you get up there and you see the views, it kind of makes up for it. So there was 5 of us in total, me and my wife, Dean's kids and their partners, and Poppy, and we hiked up the hill, and we're all having loads of fun, and it was sort of a bit sort of grey and overcast, but nothing too crazy, kind of a bit like it is today, except that the sky was doing this really weird thing, and I think I've still got a picture of it, so I'll pop it in, where there was just like this bar of light just along the horizon. And we climbed up here to the top, and we like, obviously it's quite an emotional moment, and everyone was feeling a lot, and the time finally came. They popped open the I feel wrong calling it a tub, the tube of ashes, and I swear the moment that lid came off, boom, just this crazy thunder, rain hammering down, this moment that we'd all pictured completely scuppered. We're all like, ah, like trying to scatter these ashes, people trying to have this really profound moment, once being battered by the rain, and there was thunder and lightning, and we all ran down the hill trying to just escape this chaos. It was so chaotic and so funny and so unexpected that it was never what any of us had expected that moment to be, but it was also exactly what that moment had to be. It was quintessential Dean. And you know, I don't know what I think about what happens after death, but I've never had such a compelling argument for some sort of spiritual afterlife as that, because the moment we popped the lid off that thing, it was like this chaotic personality of Dean just escaped up into the heavens and just rained a mighty storm down in relief to just go, nah, you're not making a big fuss of me, we're doing this my way. God, I miss him. But I'm really glad that I've got this place that I can come to, and it's not too far away for me and my family to come up to, and for us to reminisce about that, and to think about Dean and think about life, because it's so bloody fragile, isn't it, life? Yeah, one moment and then you're gone the next. So don't let the big problems be big problems. Hill number 3. Ooh, it's not as bad because we didn't come down that far on that one. This is probably the easiest of the hills today. And whilst we're talking about hills, I am going to actually temper my expectations for what I'm getting done today. I think the plague that befell me last week hasn't quite left me 100%, so I'm going to get to the other side of the following hill, which brings us to a car park at the top of Claybank, and I'm going to end it there for now, and then I'll come back soon and we'll crack on. But you gotta listen to your body, because when it's like help, don't ignore it. Don't ignore a cry for help, guys, especially when it comes from within. Oh, help, I'm climbing hills again. Why am I doing this? Why am I putting cameras up and then walking back down the hill to walk back up the hill? Hill number 3 done, which just leaves hill number 4, which has a little surprise on it as well. So fingers crossed we can get the drone out for that. We are steadily inching closer to Rosebery Topping over there, but it's deceptively close at the moment, because after you get over this hill, the final sort of ascent that you have to do takes you off that way for quite a while before you finally turn and start heading back that way. I was going to do a lot of that today, but like I say, I'm just not feeling 100% still, so I'm going to, instead of pushing myself on them being done in, I'm just going to stay positive, because I think I lost like nearly half a stone in about a week, and I have suffered. We've got the final hill that we're going to do today, so it's 4 hills in total today. This is the 4th, and you can see up there that there is some big old rocks, and they are mighty big, so I'm going to, it feels a little bit like the wind's maybe not as ferocious as it was. I'm going to try and bung the drone around them a bit. Big rocks, innit? How the heck did they get there? Oh, you know we love some big rocks on this channel. Huge fan of big rocks. And some good rocks. I might give the drone a go and then see if I can bung it down on the side somewhere if it loses control, which I suspect it will. This might not be very good drone footage, but we have to try. Yeah, that wasn't half bad, that drone footage, but oh. Hello. Wasn't expecting that. What was I saying? Yeah, my little piddly drone was handled its own there, didn't it? Right, let's get off this hill and wiggle back towards civilization. So this is the, like I said, the final bit of hiking we'll be doing today. I think in hindsight, given it's nearly 4 o'clock, adding another 10 miles on today might have been a scooch beyond my capabilities. For the next journey, we'll be starting at Claybank, going all the way over there. You can see that little road going off in the distance, then following that bank all the way along, all the way along, all the way along, down into Kildare, up to Captain Cook's monument, down, and then we are going to tackle the big chief himself, Rosebery Top Inn. So you'll have to make sure you're tuned in for that. Now then. Hello. So all we're doing now is heading down, and then that's the road, and then that's where we say our tatty byes. So maybe I'll say my tatty byes to you now, and then we can pretend like I actually said me tatty byes to you down there. All right? Yeah, you happy with that? Yeah, thank you so much for watching yet another one of my silly little life distraction videos in which I wander and listen to audiobooks and chat to you and film myself walking as though nobody's there and there's not a camera there, and then I have to rush back and go and get the camera. And thank you for, in these past couple of videos, allowing me to, you know, share a little bit more personal stuff. I didn't feel like I could do this walk justice without talking about these things, and there's other things that I'll probably want to talk about on the other bits, but you know, there's plenty of videos of people walking the Cleveland Way out there, but my story is my own, and I wanted to do it justice. So thank you for indulging me on that. And if there's one last thing I was going to say really about the whole thing with my brother-in-law, is he suffered with his alcoholism for a large part of his life. I think, especially since getting to know him and in the years since he's passed, I've been very aware of how glib people are when they talk about drinking and alcoholism, as though like, oh, it's just this funny thing, when, you know, it's not. It's a horrible thing when it's genuine alcoholism. I mean, a lot of people I know who drink, I don't know if they would ever stop drinking. I don't know if they ever could stop drinking, but I feel like they wouldn't drink to the extent that the alcoholics that I've known have drank. And I think that's quite a clear distinction there. Like, it's not an easy subject, and I think all I'd ask is, like, if you're one of those people who goes like, oh, I'm such an alky or whatever, maybe just don't. Like, you don't have to brag about drinking alcohol. It's not like it's a difficult thing to do. It is distressingly available. You're basically going, meh, I'm so good at breathing air. Like, it's not a thing to brag about. So maybe just be mindful of stuff like that, because the people that I know who've been affected by it, they're not the sort of people who go, actually, I think you'll find you're an insufferable knob for saying that. But I know that it hurts them. It hurts me when people say that, because I feel like if you just knew what it's actually like, you wouldn't talk about it like that. So just be mindful. I'm not saying everyone needs to give up drinking. I'm not saying anything stupid like that. But just be mindful that what people are going through isn't always obvious, and you making light of something that you think of as like a fun distraction, for some people is something that tears families apart, you know. So just remember that. Anyway, with that aside, thank you so much for listening to this. I'll be back in but the breath of 2 weeks. The breath of 2 weeks. I don't know what I'm trying to say that. I'll be back in 2 weeks with another video, unless for some reason I decide, you know what, it just needs to be a longer video, in which case I'll keep walking, but I probably won't do that, because we've chatted plenty. We'll go up that hill, go over that way, then walk all the way over there, and we'll look at some cool stuff. And then we'll head to the coast, to Saltburn, and then we begin the seaside adventures from Saltburn down past Whitby, down past Scarborough, all the way to Filey. We've still got a staggering amount of walk left to do. But I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully for the rest of the journey the weather stays as nice as it has been today, if not nicer. But I'm babbling anyway. Yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Toodaloo. Tatty bye.